Welcome back to RBD Block Challenge. I'm Cindy Cloward, and today we are working on block number 5. It's called Flower Patch, and it's designed by Heather Peterson. This is what the block looks like in our confetti cottons, and this is what it looks like in our batiks. Kind of a little pizzazz to the prints we have in that. So let's get started on how to create this block. Let me just show you. We're gonna make this 4 times, this little unit here, and then we've got 4 other units. It comes together really nicely, so let's get started. As always, the first thing you need to do is download the pattern from the Riley Blake Designs website, and you're cut out your pieces and you're ready to go. I have all my pieces here. And let's get started on these little corner units. So the first thing you need to do is grab your H squares a little bit on the rectangle side and grab your B squares. Now if you don't have a Seam So Easy guide, you're gonna need to mark corner to corner, and that's going to be your stitch line. But since I do have one, I am gonna grab, I only need 4 of these squares. I'm gonna put them on this side. And make sure you're following directions. You're gonna sew from this corner to that corner and on the same, just that same side. So I'm gonna line them all up. And these B's are for our next unit we're gonna work on. Take it to the machine and chain piece. Okay, you can clip your threads and our little bee cutter if you got one. And then again, just make sure they're all on the same side before you trim down. And then we use, I love this 1/4 inch plus ruler that you can just really give you an accurate 1/4 inch to trim down. And we're gonna trim. And then I'm gonna jump to my next unit before I press these open, kind of that flip and turn method. So the next thing I'm gonna grab is my 4 G rectangles, and then our little B squares. They go right on the top. Again, if you're new to quilting or you don't have a Seam So Easy guide, you know, mark these corner to corner, and this is the marking, and you're gonna sew from corner to corner on the white piece, a little white square, and that is gonna be your sew line. Again, a tip, sometimes I just go a thread just to the outside, so when it opens up, it finishes off perfectly on your rectangle. All right, these are all chain piece. Let's just clip our threads. Bring it back here, make sure they're all going the same direction, and then we're gonna trim down. And then we'll just take both these units to our pressing station. Okay, let's take these over to the pressing station. Kind of set my stitches a little bit. And we're gonna open those up. Let them cool underneath the clapper. Give them a quick press. You give them a quick press ahead of time so it just kind of warms them up. So it's really easy to flip. Okay, let those cool. So that's what you want to see, is just that finished rectangle with the new white piece on the corner. So those are ready to go. These should be ready to go. We'll put these units right here. The next thing we need to do is we're going to create this teeny little unit right here, starting with that coral center. So we're going to grab our F squares, and then we're going to grab these D rectangles. We'll just chain piece these, just put them on the side. You can just take them to your machine. Get those little rectangles next. And I am doing a scant 1/4 inch. There's a lot of little piecing in here. So you just don't want to take a generous 1/4 inch. Otherwise your block's going to be too small when there's a lot of pieces. So a scant is just thread or two smaller than a 1/4 inch. I'm going to take this to the pressing station. And then let's just flip these open one at a time. Okay. So we've got these little units. Make sure they're going the right way. They're going to go this way, and then grab our little C rectangles, and we're going to put them on the bottom. All right, let's clip our threads. Look at these cute little units. Let me clean up our cutting station here. And now it's time to assemble these all together. So first you're going to take this unit, looks like it's flipped this direction, and then it's going to go together like this. I'm going to put a pin on it so it reminds me where I'm starting so I don't get confused. Just make sure they're going all the same way. There, flip over. Okay, let's go sew. Okay, let's clip all these units and take it to the pressing station. Doesn't really matter which direction, just wherever it feels like going. And it felt like both those seams wanted to go towards the center, which is perfectly fine because we're not going, they do not have to nest these seams with another unit at all. I'm just consistent with which way I flip my seams. Again, if you want to open up your seams, that's your choice. I prefer not to open up my seams. I just press to one side. Give that a little bit longer press. Cool. Look at that, we are moving along. Let's grab these other rectangular units, and it goes on this side. So we're gonna sew that down on that side on all 4 units. Heather Peterson always creates the cutest patterns. She does a lot of flowers in her patterns, and they are good and easy to follow. Okay, let's just sew this little unit. All right, let's clip our threads. And we're going to take it to the pressing station. And again, open that up. And we're just moving along. This block comes together in no time at all. Do a little press, open it up. I do have a little steam in here. Sometimes it's nice to add a little steam to your project. As long as you're not stretching your fabric. Okay. Okay, these blocks, these little units are finished, just lickety split. And I did jump ahead if you've followed along the pattern. These are ready to go. I just thought it was nice to assemble these all together. And now we're gonna come back to these I rectangles. We're gonna take these A squares, and this is the unit we're going to work on. It's very similar to what we've been doing previously. You're gonna take all these squares, mark them to corner if you don't have a Seam So Easy guide, and you're gonna put them on each side, just like that. And you're gonna sew on this side, this corner to this corner, and then on this side, from corner to corner. I'm just gonna speed through this, and I'll meet you back here when I've got all these units sewn. All right, let's clip our threads, and we're gonna take it to our cutting station and trim them down. And we're gonna trim these down to 1/4 inch. Just make sure you're going up one side, down the other, and this is what it looks like when it's finished. And on the pattern, it has you do this right after you're doing all those other flip and turn corners, and you can do those all together. But I kind of liked getting this unit finished. And we're gonna flip them open. Both sides at once. All right, just finishing that last one. Press a little bit longer. Okay, let's take these back, and we're ready to start assembling our quilt block. Of course, we have this beautiful coral pink in the center. And then these are flipped out like this. Makes a nice looking flower. And it's so interesting how this comes together. Now these coral colors are on all 4 corners. Just like that. And then it's ready to sew. It's just that easy that this comes together so quickly. Okay, let's take our design board over to the sewing machine. And let's just sew down these rows. Okay, I do not clip my threads in between because I like them connected as I'm opening this up. I flip the other side over, and I do throw a pin in, and I'm going to sew from this direction, so I'm flipping that over like that. And it becomes a little more fiddly since I haven't cut my threads, so I do throw a pin at the top. right there. Let me pull that out. Get my little bird pins here. Okay, let's take it to the machine and we'll just sew down the other side. Again, I'm just using just a scant 1/4 inch. All right, let's open it up. Just 2 more seams. Take a look at that. This is where I do nest my seams now. And I think I'm going to let that, these like to go that direction, so I'm going to, this bottom square, it's going to flip towards that coral. And they should nest beautifully right here. If they're slightly off, sometimes I just give them a little tug. They usually fall into place like that. So you can pin your outside edges, but I think that's good. Okay, flip it over. Again, that's going towards the center. I'm going to flip that seam there. Nesting our seams with our bird pins. And we are wrapping up this block. This came together so nicely, right? Okay, let's sew. Last side. All right, let's take this to our pressing station. I still have this little sticker there. And let's take a look. This is what we want to see. These corners lined up. It's looking good. So I just give it a quick press on the back side. Get all those seams going the right direction. Look how beautifully that comes together. The last thing we need to do is square it up. Just make sure it's measuring where it needs to be. And again, you just want to line everything up. See if there's anything on the outside. It's mainly threads, but sometimes it's nice to just trim off those threads. And I think that looks good. And the quilt block is finished. Flower Patch. Now that is a pretty quilt block. And it was designed by Heather Peterson. We can't wait to see what Heather Peterson does with her own block, with her own fabrics. But it was a lot of fun to sew this block. So join me next time for block number 6. It's called Starburst, and it's designed by Amber Elliott.